Howdy, everyone. How are you guys doing? Hey, what's up, Korea? Indelible Sin. Hey, what's up? Streety McMeety, welcome back. Gabriel, what's up, Gabriel? Nice of you to join. Hey, Katie. Hi, Nikki. Bigfoot. Bigfoot peas on YouTube. Are you the same Bigfoot as before? Or is this another person? Hey, what's up, Nikki? Tomorrow's your birthday. Hey, everyone say happy birthday to Nikki. Happy birthday, Nikki. Happy 18th birthday. Korea, what's up? Losh, glad you could join. Hey, Dee Dee. Patrick. Oh no, you missed your boa. You can't get any until next week. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I haven't had boba in a while. Nicaragua. Oh, welcome, Scarlett from Nicaragua. Do 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 do. Yeah. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, I've been looking for a video editor. Yeah, I think I should be choosing one soon. I talked to a couple of candidates already. It's funny some of the emails I've gotten. The people who wanted to be a video editor. Like some of the emails are like have one or two lines. They're very unprofessional. So let that be a lesson. Like if you're trying to look for a job, be a little bit more professional. It's been a few years since you've had boba tea. Yeah, sucks for you. You should get on that right away, like right now. I have this today. All right, this is my snack for the day. I think it's like gummies or something. Yep, I'm still going through that Baksu box that they gave me like months ago. What's up, Freddy? Oh, what is this? Oh. Alright. Can you see it? Is this like a strawberry? I don't think so. It's fruity. It's some type of fruit. It's pretty good. It's some kind of gummies. Yeah. Not butterscotch. I can't put my finger on it. It's like some kind of fruity thing. But it's very, very fruity. What's my opinion on deep fried foods? I love deep fried foods. But deep fried Oreos, Twinkies, or pizza, I don't know if I like that. I've never had deep fried Oreos before. Have you guys had that? What the hell is that? That sounds disgusting. I've had fried ice cream. That's pretty good. Yeah. But you gotta eat that fast because like the fried ice cream, it gets soggy really quick, right? If you just leave it there. But if it's fresh and crunchy, oh, that stuff is amazing. Yeah, where do you get deep fried Oreos? Do you make it yourself? A sundae with bacon. Now you're just being disgusting. What? Is that good? Ew. I don't know if that's a good food combination that I would like. Yeah, tempura cheesecake or tempura ice cream. Ah, that stuff is amazing. But in general, I do like deep fried foods, like tempura, fried shrimp, fried everything. Like I love shrimp. I love fried stuff. Well, what is the story time going to be about? Well, it's going to be about what it's always been about. It's a smiling proud wanderer. We're on chapter 31. No, I guess chapter 17, part 1. Yeah. So if you're just dropping in without watching the previous episodes, you'll have no idea what's going on, to be honest. What's up, QP? You made fried Oreos, and how was it? Yeah, karage is good. Chicken karage. Uh-huh. Yeah, you guys are my crew right here. You like a lot of the stuff that I like. All right, so last week um it was a long chapter. I think this chapter is shorter than last week. Okay, so what happened last week? So last week, the Huashan school, they were traveling on their boat on the river. Ling Huchong, remember, Ling Huchong had just saved this this girl, right? This young girl, by cutting his wrist open and spilling his blood and feeding his blood to her, right? So now he's sick. He's out of blood, right? He's he's very bad. He's in a bad state. So they're on a boat, and then they're traveling down the river, and then they meet another boat. All right, and then the people on that boat come aboard, and this girl comes aboard. This beautiful girl, and it turns out that she's the leader of this five venom sect, right? And apparently, this sect is they specialize in poisons. Her name is Blue Phoenix. Okay, so she's supposed to be really beautiful and has a soft voice. She seems to be way too young to be running a sect, but there you go. She's running this group. She's the leader of this group. Now she sees our hero Ling Hu Chong. He's out of blood. He's in bed. He's out of blood. He's she wants to save him, right? So she saves him by doing this blood transfusion. A blood transfusion that's facilitated by leeches, right? So she takes like 4 of her followers and herself, right? They put leeches on themselves, on their legs, I think. And the leeches suck all of their blood, so they get nice, big, and fat. And then she transfers them to Ling Hu Chong, and they transfuse their blood into him, thereby making him healthy again. Okay, so he had just lost a lot of blood. Now he's regained all of that blood, so he's fine now. And then she tries to get everyone to drink wine. Right, she offers the people on the boat her special wine. And it turns out, if you look in the wine, they have like these 5 venomous creatures, like centipedes, snakes, scorpions, and other things. And everyone's appalled, right? Except for Ling Hu Chong, who just drinks it. Just drinks it whole, and she's very impressed that he did that. But she wasn't impressed with anyone else. So they leave. That group leave, and after they leave, everyone gets sick, and then they're vomiting, and they're super sick. So we find out that they're super sick except for Ling Hu Chong. So we find out that this group, this sect, who specializes in poison, had just poisoned the entire boat. And drinking the wine was the antidote, right? So only Ling Hu Chong took the antidote, and everyone is vomiting and stuff. It's not a fatal poison, okay? But they're just, I guess they're not gonna die, but they're just super sick. I guess that was a joke, a very funny joke on her part. And then they go to the group goes to an inn, and then there are some people, they seem to be well-known fighters. They're fighting over who has this evil resisting sword art, which is, remember, everyone's after this thing. It's the sword art of Lin Pingzhi's family. Then stuff happens, blah blah blah. Some more people come, and they invite everyone to this ridge where they're all supposed to meet. So everyone is going towards this ridge, and it looks like in this chapter or the next chapter, we find out why everyone respects Ling Hu Chong, right? Remember, the current mystery that we have here is that Ling Hu Chong, for some reason, everyone is very nice to him. Is giving him respect, giving him gifts, saving his life, and he doesn't know why, right? And so maybe in this chapter or next chapter we find out why this is happening. All right, so that's the recap. How about that? Yeah, those girls must have O negative blood. They didn't really, yeah, no one checked his blood type. That was weird. Oh, there's a dislike? Yeah. I dislike my own videos. That's me, guys. That was not a stranger. Yeah. You gotta call me out when there's a word that I don't know the definition of. If you can call me out on a word, that equals one karaoke song that I have to sing as punishment at the end of the reading. Maybe he has O positive blood. Is O positive the type that is it the universal receiver? Is O negative the universal donor and O positive the universal receiver? Ling Hu Chong's blood type is alcohol. That's right. Okay, let's begin, you guys. AB plus is universal? Oh. Okay, so maybe he has AB plus. AB positive. Oh, I got it. So O negative is the universal donor, and AB positive is the universal receiver. Gotcha. Oh, Freddy, you're O positive? Are you positive about that? That's cool. Wait, O positive? No, that's not cool actually. What's O positive? You're useless. You gotta be O negative. Okay, if you're O negative, then you're a generous person because you're the universal donor. If you're AB positive, then you are a selfish piece of shit. Okay, you can't give anyone you can't give. AB negative is the rarest. Gotcha. All right, guys. Chapter 17, In Love. The Five Tyrant Ridge lay right at where the Shandong province and the Henan province bordered each other, west to Huzhu and Dingtao in the Shandong province. and east to Dongming of the Henan province. The terrains around the region were mostly made of flat lands with swamp country. From a distance, the Five Tyrant Ridge didn't appear to be a tall mountain, but rather just a small hill. The group of horse riders and wagons galloped toward the east, and after every few miles or so, there would always be several riders coming from the east to greet them. Dismounting from their horses right next to the wagon, they would shout their greetings to Ling Huchong with raised voices, acting very respectfully with great courtesy. The closer they were from the Five Tyrant Ridge, the more people greeted them alongside the road. Although every one of them gave a brief self-introduction of himself, Ling Huchong could not remember the great amount of information. Finally, the horse-drawn wagon stopped in front of a tall ridge. The ridge of hill was covered by a dense mass of pine trees, and a mountain road zigzagged upward, leading to the top. Huang Bo Liu helped Ling Huchong out of the horse-drawn wagon to the side of the road, where two big fellows carrying a bamboo carriage had been waiting. Thinking that master, wife, and little apprentice sister would have to climb up the ridge on foot while he took the carriage, Ling Huchong felt uneasiness brewing inside him. Master wife, why don't you take the wagon? I can walk by myself, he suggested. The young Master Ling Hu is the one they are greeting, not your master wife, Madame Yue replied with a grin, before striding up the mountain road, followed by Yue Buchun and their daughter, Yue Lingshan. I think she's joking. She's not actually mad. But Yue Buchun, his master, is the guy who's he's a little annoyed that this is happening, it seems. His young apprentice is getting more respect than he is. Having no other alternatives, Ling Huchong sat down in the bamboo carriage chair. The two carriers lifted the carriage and soon entered a large clearing in the middle of the woods on top of the hill, where patches of crowds had scattered about all over it. Judging from the looks and expressions of these people, Ling Huchong knew that these were all the kind of rough fellows from the unorthodox factions of the martial world. At the sight of Ling Huchong's arrival, the crowd rushed forward like a swarm of bees. Okay, so looks like these are all like high-level, well-known people in the martial arts world, but they're also from the unorthodox side of the martial world. Okay, so it seems I think Yue Buchun does not like this at all. Is this the young Master Ling Hu? Many asked eagerly. Here are some panaceas passed down from my ancestors that can return the dead to life, a man shouted. I dug this matured, human-shaped ginseng out in Changbai 20 years ago. Young Master Ling Hu, will you please have it? Another one offered. These 7 men are the most skilled and renowned doctors in the eastern Shandong province. I've invited them here to check on young Master Ling Hu's pulse, a third person announced. All 7 doctors were tied up tightly around their wrists, and a rope stringed them all together. Oh god, he captured these 7 doctors. Looking wan and sallow, each of them showed a gloomy face. None had any trace of superiority. The kind normally displayed on the face of a renowned doctor left in him. Obviously, the man had kidnapped them all, and the word invitation was far from the truth. I've taken a little bit of every kind of precious medicine in the entire Jinan city, so if young Master Ling Hu needs anything specific, we won't be unprepared. Carrying 2 large bamboo baskets on his shoulders, a man declared. Everyone knows he's sick. Most of the people in the crowd are rough and coarse fellows, and many dressed in strange and unusual outfits, but Ling Huchong had no doubt about their sincerity and was utterly grateful. Having suffered many setbacks just lately, and having been on the brink of death for the last many days, Ling Huchong found himself much more emotional. At the sight of the many caring faces, A warm feeling swelled in his heart, and soon big drops of tears rolled down his cheeks. Dear friends, Ling Hu Chong is only a nobody in this world, yet the many of you have shown me great care and concern. I really don't know how I'll ever be able to repay your kindness. Cupping his hands in greetings, Ling Hu Chong spoke, but only after a few sentences he choked with sobs. Not able to express his gratitude with words, he knelt down and bowed his head to salute, which immediately caused uproar in the crowd. We certainly don't deserve such high honor. Please stand up. You are really embarrassing us now. Amid the many scattered replies, people in the crowd also knelt down on their knees and saluted back. Within moments, except Yue Buchun, the group of Huashan apprentices, and the Peach Valley Six Fairies, the over 1,000 people atop the Five Tyrant Ridge were all on their knees. Didn't want to give the misimpression of taking the salute from the many people. Yue Buchun and the rest of the Huashan members turned sideways and took a few steps back, while the Peach Valley Six Fairies pointed their fingers at the crowd in total amusement, spilling streams of drivels and laughing their heads off. After several bows, Ling Hu Chong stood back up, tears streaming out from his eyes. Regardless of what intention these friends have, I am willing to risk any danger for their sake, even if I'll have my body smashed into pieces, he told himself. Young Master Ling Hu, this way please. You can take a rest at the shack over there, Chief Huang Bo Liu of the Heavenly River faction proposed. Is this the guy? Is this the old guy? I hope he is, because I'm gonna do an old voice for him. And then ushered Ling Hu Chong and the Yue Buchun couple into a shack. The shack was made of straws and appeared to have just been built very recently. A table and a few chairs occupied the middle of the shack, and a tea kettle and a set of teacups sat on top of the table. Huang Bo Liu waved his hand, and immediately his subordinates brought in wine and poured a cup for each of them. More people walked in and brought plates of beef jerky, ham, the kind of snacks that goes well with wine. Ling Hu Chong picked up the cup in front of him and then walked out of the shack. Dear friends, he spoke aloud, this is the first time I've met many of you, so naturally we need a toast for the new friendship. From now on, you are all good friends of Ling Hu Chong. Starting from today, we'll share joy and sorrow, weal and woe. Let all of us, all good friends here, start by sharing this cup of wine first. At that word, he swung his right arm and poured the wine in the cup toward the sky, which immediately separated into thousands of small drops and splashed everywhere. Chat is talking about food, which I love. Mochi ice cream? Okay, now chat is talking about mochi ice cream. Young Master Ling Hu said it right. Starting from today, we'll share joy and sorrow, weal and woe with you. Cheers resounded like rolls of thunder as the crowd replied in unison. Yue Buchun knitted his brows as he thought to himself, Chong is behaving so rashly and unruly, having no concern about the consequences of his action. When he saw that these people cared for him, he didn't even think before saying that he would share joy and sorrow, weal and woe with them. Among these people here, most likely, not even a single one of them is a law-abiding citizen, and many might have easily fallen into the same league as the notorious Tianpo Guang, when they raid homes and plunder houses. F and loot. Are you going to share the joy? When we, people of the Orthodox schools, exterminate these hoodlums, are you going to share the sorrow? Yep. He is super annoyed. Why all the friends here today are caring so much for me, Ling Hu Chong, I have no clue, Ling Hu Chong went on. But whether I know or don't know, that doesn't matter. Whatever the puzzledom is, you can tell it to my face. A true man is as open as the day, and always speaks out his mind. If there's anything Ling Hu Chong can do for you, even if I have to climb a hill of knives or go through a forest of swords, I dare not to decline. He had thought that these people didn't even know each other before, yet all tried very hard to befriend him. Then naturally, they must have something very important that needed his help, since he was going to give his word anyhow, even if that was something he was incapable of doing. So what? He was going to die very soon anyway. Where did you get that idea, young Master Ling Hu? Huang Bo answered. The many friends here heard that young master was coming, and out of admiration and respect, all of us just happened to coincide and gathered here, so we can have a look at your elegant demeanor with reverence. We also heard that young master was not feeling well. That is why some of us invited renowned doctors, and some others gathered different kinds of medicine. We definitely have no request of any kind for young master. We are not from the same group. Many of us have only heard about each other before, and some didn't even get along. But since young master have said that we should share joy and sorrow, weal and woe, starting from today, even if we weren't good friends before among ourselves, we are good friends now. Naturally, Chief Huang said it perfectly, the crowd replied all together. Young master, why don't you go back in the shack and have these 7 renowned doctors check out your posts? The man who pulled a string of doctors behind him stepped forward and suggested. Ling Hu Chong thought to himself, even Dr. Ping One Finger, such an extraordinary doctor, has concluded that there's no cure for my injuries. What else could the 7 doctors of yours find? But for fear of hurting the man's good intention, he could not object, and had to step back inside the shack. The man dragged the 7 doctors into the shack as if they were a string of frogs, which brought a grin on Ling Hu Chong's face. This brother, why don't you set them free? I am sure they won't be able to run away, Ling Hu Chong proposed. If young master says so, the man answered, and soon broke the rope into pieces with 6 popping sounds. If you can't cure young Master Ling Hu, I'll break your neck the same way, he yelled at the doctors. I'll try my best, but there's no doctor who can always guarantee a cure, one of the doctors muttered. Young master here is glowing with health and radiating vigor. I'm sure his illness can be rid of with a dose of medicament. What? Medication? Another doctor added immediately, as all of them rushed forward to check Ling Hu Chong's pulse. Suddenly, someone shouted at the shack's doorway. Get out of here, all of you useless quacks! Ling Hu Chong turned his head around and immediately spotted the killer doctor, Ping One Finger. Oh, he makes an appearance again. Ping One Finger entered the shack. Raising his left foot, he suddenly threw a kick at one of the doctors. Bang! The doctor flew out of the shack. Wait. Yeah. Without any delay, he raised his right foot. With another loud bang, a second doctor was kicked out of the shack. The man who had brought all the doctors along seemed to have quite an awe against Ping One Finger. Turning toward the group of doctors, he yelled loudly. Dr. Ping, the #1 doctor in the world, has arrived. How dare you show yourselves up in front of him? Another 2 loud bangs rose as the man also kicked 2 of the doctors out of the shack. Terrified, the rest of the 3 doctors staggered out of the shack. The man bowed timidly with a smiling face, obviously trying to please Ping One Finger. Young Master Ling Hu, Dr. Ping wasn't thinking right. Will you please pardon? Young Master Ling Hu, Dr. Ping, I wasn't thinking right. Will you please pardon? He said, when suddenly Ping One Finger raised his left foot and with another loud bang sent the man flying out of the shack. Ling Hu Chong was astounded. Oh, wait a minute. There you go. That's what it sounded like. Ling Huchong was astounded, having not expected such a result at all. Without saying another word, Ping One Finger took a seat next to Ling Huchong and placed his fingers on Ling Huchong's right wrist to check his pulse. After a good while, he switched to Ling Huchong's left wrist and began checking this one instead. After another good while, he switched back to Ling Huchong's right wrist once again. Thus, switching back and forth, he checked Ling Huchong's pulse again and again, knitting his brows almost into a straight line. He pondered with all his might, his eyes shut tightly. Dr. Ping, Ling Huchong finally broke the silence. Life and death lie in the lap of fate. My injury is just too severe to cure. It has already troubled you twice, and I simply can't be thankful enough for your kindness. There is really no need to trouble you any further. Loud noise and excitement rose from the outside, soon followed by the sounds of people playing wine games on top of their tongues. Apparently, people from the Heavenly River faction had brought in shipments of food and wine to supply the crowd. Ling Huchong's mind seemed to have slipped out from the shack, so he could join the crowd outside to have a jolly time. But Ping One Finger switched back and forth with his two wrists, as though there was never going to be an end to it. Dr. Ping's name is Ping One Finger, Ling Huchong thought to himself secretly, and he always claimed that he only needed one finger to check one's pulse for a cure, and only one finger to seal one's acupuncture point for a kill. But look how many fingers how many fingers he is using on me now. If I am not mistaken, he is using all 10 of them. A loud cracking sound suddenly interrupted his thought. A man stuck his head inside the shack, and it turned out to be the Trunk Fairy. Ling Huchong, why aren't you drinking wine with us? Trunk Fairy asked. I'll be right there. You'd better wait for me. Don't get yourself filled up too quickly, Ling Huchong answered. Sure, Trunk Fairy replied. Dr. Ping, you better hurry up. At that word, he pulled his head out. Slowly, Ping One Finger drew his hands away from Ling Huchong's wrists. Eyes still shut tight, he drummed his right index finger on the table, gently, as though greatly puzzled. Opening his eyes after a long while, he finally spoke. Young Master Ling Hu, there are 7 types of energy streams inside your body, constantly crashing against each other. There is no passageway for them to exit out, and there is no hope to tame them either. This is neither a case of poison, nor a wound inflicted by a blade, much less illness caused by cold or fever. Thus not something treatable with medicine or acupuncture. Right, Ling Huchong acknowledged. Since that day when I checked your pulse in the town of Chuxian, I've already figured out a solution, which, with some luck, might work the wonder. I was going to gather 7 martial arts masters who have superb and resourceful inner energy to work on you all at once and eradicate the 7 types of energy streams once and for all. I've already invited 3 of them to come here today. It shouldn't be difficult to find 2 more qualified masters among the crowd. Then, when you count your master, Mr. Yue, and I in, everything would have been ready. But when I checked your pulse just now, I couldn't help noticing some dramatic changes in the situation, which completely complicated things to the extreme. Oh, Ling Huchong responded. During the last several days, 4 dramatic changes had taken place. Change number 1, young master took dozens of ultra-nutritious tonics, among which were precious medicaments such as ginseng, polygonum multiflorum, glossy ganoderma, tuckahoe, and the like, but the effects of these tonics were actually intended for female patients. Wow, Ling Huchong exclaimed. Oh no, that was the medicine that he got in the first place. Those 7 or 9 cups. But looks like those medicines are doing more harm than good. Wow, Ling Huchong exclaimed. You are absolutely right. That's amazing. Such excellent skills had to be rare in all ages. Why did young master take these tonics? Ping One Finger went on. Most probably a quack was to blame. How detestable and irritating. Zhu Qianqiu thought he was doing me a favor when he stole old man's life-extending 8 pills to feed me. Oh, that was 8. Ling Hucheng thought to himself, how could he have known that there are different tonics between male and female? If I spilled the beans, for sure Dr. Ping would blame him. It's probably better if I just keep this to myself. At that thought, he said, it's my own fault. I can't really blame anybody else. You didn't lack any energy. Quite on the contrary. You had too much energy in you. Now, when you suddenly took so much of these tonics, you've worsened the case. Think about it. If the water in the Yangtze River has already risen to a dangerous height, what will happen if the water controller keeps directing even more water into it from the Dongting Lake and the Boyang Lake? A disaster! These types of tonics would only have benefited congenitally deficient young females. Unfortunately, young master took them. Alas, how harmful. I just hope Miss Old Not Dead, the daughter of Old Man, will eventually recover after drinking my blood, Ling Hucheng thought. Change number 2. Young master, you have lost a great amount of blood all of a sudden. How could you have gotten yourself into fights and brawls so recklessly with your already injured body? Scrambling for supremacy with fierce means in no way leads to a prolonged life. Alas, that one thought so highly of you. Yet you have no regard for yourself. A true man can wait 10 years before seeking his revenge. Why couldn't you have waited a bit longer and had to seek the instant pleasure? Ping One Finger shook his head again and again as he spoke, and a disapprobatory expression brewing on his face. If his patient weren't Ling Hucheng, he would probably have smacked him hard on the face, or at least have poured out endless of invectives. You are absolutely right, Senior Master, Ling Hucheng replied. Oh fuck. Nikki caught me. Congenitally. What does congenitally mean? Ah, crap. Let's see. A congenitally deficient young female. I'm gonna say congenitally means it's gotta be having something to do with genes, right? Like a genetically deficient. Alright. Like genetically deficient young female. So congenitally means genetically. Alright. Do you believe that? Congenital. Of or relating to a condition that is present as a result of either hereditary influence. Does that count? Hereditary. That's genetically, right? I think that counts. I think I'm right. Oh, what now, Nikki? Huh? What now? What now? That's wrong. Really? I don't get credit for that? Alright, chat can decide if that's wrong or right. That's pretty close. Oh, is it freezing? I got it half right. You're not counting it. Present from birth is the important part. Oh, is it? A condition that is present at birth. But it also says as a result of hereditary. Okay, fine. Alright, so... Alright, fine. I'll take the L. I'll take the L, fine. Congenitally means present from birth, but I kind of got it wrong. I thought it was genetically. So you guys get one karaoke song. Damn it. Good job, chat. Medicament? I think it's medication. Medicament. It's medication, right? Oh, fuck. Da, da, da. A substance used for medical treatment. Medication. That's gotta be right. Like, I'm not taking the L for that. That's still one song. Alright, let's continue. If you're losing much blood were the only problem we have to worry about, it would still have been manageable. But why did you mix yourself up with people from the Yunnan Five Sylph sect and drank their Five Sylph mega nourishing wine? Ping One Finger's voice became more and more irritated. Five Sylph mega nourishing wine? Ling Huchang repeated in surprise. Yes, the Five Sylph mega nourishing wine, brewed using the secret formula of the Five Sylph sect, passed down generation after generation. Ping One Finger murmured. The 5 venomous pests in the wine were extremely precious. It was said that each one takes decades to cultivate. There are also dozens of kinds of rare plants in the wine. However, together with the 5 venomous pests, they produce a strange, yet powerful balance. The drinker of this wine will be void of harm from all diseases and poisons, and also gain inner energy worth 10 years of training. It is the most miraculous tonic existing in the world. I've yearned for a chance to see it for many years. I heard that Blue Phoenix, the girl, always maintains a good moral integrity and never even looks encouragingly to any man. Who would have expected that she would give you the most precious medicated wine of her sect? Alas, the loose youth, stealing young girls' hearts wherever he goes, ignorant of the harm this has brought upon himself. Ling Huchang couldn't help but let out an embarrassed smile. Chief Blue and I have only met once before. It was on our boat when we sailed east along the Yellow River. I am indebted to her for presenting me the 5 Sylph wine, but other than that, we had no association whatsoever, he explained. After gazing at him for a good while, Ping One Finger nodded. In that case, I suppose it was only for the sake of that one. Did Blue Phoenix give you the 5 Sylph mega nourishing wine? But the extra nourishment only resulted in more energy inside you, which in turn caused more damage. Besides, even though the wine is mega nourishing, it is mega poisonous also. Damn, what a big mess this is. All they have at the 5 Sylph sect are a few odd prescriptions passed down from past generations. What's thinking? Nonsense. Medical principles. Did Blue Phoenix, the little chick, understand? What a goddamn big mess this is in. Big Ping One Finger went frantic. Ling Huchang listened on as Ping One Finger poured out streams of profanities. He certainly got an unusually hot temper. He couldn't help thinking. But then, as soon as he noticed Ping One Finger's gloomy face and the fluctuating chest below, obviously from the sincere caring for his well-being, he regretted it. Senior Master Ping, Chief Blue only had good intentions, he said. Good intentions! Huh! When the many quacks misdiagnosed their patients and got them killed, which one of them didn't have good intentions? You tell me, did you know that people die every day because of misdiagnoses from quacks are far more than people who die from a blade in the martial world? Ping One Finger snarled. There's a good possibility that might happen, Ling Huchang replied. What possibility? That's the fact. Ping One Finger bellowed. What makes Blue Phoenix think she can just stick her nose in this? Who else does she... Who else... Who the hell does she think she is, messing with my patient? At the moment, your blood contains severe poisons. If I attempt to neutralize them one by one, they would clash violently with the 7 types of inner energy streams inside you, and you wouldn't even last 3 hours. Those severe poisons in my blood probably have nothing to do with the 5 sylph wine I drank, Ling Huchang couldn't help but think. Chief Blue and those 4 Meow girls used their own blood when they gave blood to me. They live and deal with poisonous pests day and night. Even their food has poisonous element. Then naturally, their blood must have contained various poisons. Only that they've grown accustomed to that, and the various poisons could no longer affect their bodies. I'd better not mention a word about this, or else he might lose his temper completely. At that thought, he said, medical principles and pharmacology are subtle and abstruse subjects. It's only naturally that a common person won't be able to understand them thoroughly. Ping One Finger heaved a sigh and then went on. If taking the tonics by mistake, losing a great deal of blood, and drinking the medicinal wine were all the problems there are, I can still manage to overcome, but the 4th dramatic change has really left me at a loss as to what to do. Alas, you've only had yourself to blame for that. Yes, I only have myself to blame, Ling Huchang echoed. In the last several days, why have you suddenly become so downhearted and completely lost the will to live? What happened? What caused the grievance? Last time when I checked your pulse at the town of Chuxian, even though you were severely injured, I could still feel the vigorous flow in your heart arteries with thriving vitality. That was when I decided to extend your life for another 100 days so I could try my best to find a way to cure your bizarre injury within the 100 days. At that time, I was not 100% certain about the solution and didn't have the need to explain everything to you. But why have you completely lost the thriving vitality? At that question, a strong feeling of sorrow instantly swelled up in Ling Huchang's heart as he thought to himself, before, when Master had suspected me of embezzling little Lin's evil-resisting sword manuscript, it was still all right. With a clear conscience, I felt no qualms. Eventually, doubts will clear up when facts are known. But even little apprentice sister began suspecting me, and thought of me as a worthless thief deep in her heart for the sake of little Lin. That snuffed the last bit of life out of me. It would be no joy for me to continue living in this world. But Ping One Finger did not wait for him to answer, and spoke again. Your pulse is telling me that this, again, has something to do with the remorse of love. Can't you see that all women in the world have a detestable face and a dull tongue? Oh, that's kind of harsh. It would be best if you can keep your distance from them. Only when you fail at avoiding them should you tolerate with utmost effort and deal with them courteously, but without sincerity. Why are you so muddle-headed and longing for them day and night instead? That is so very much wrong. Although that one, alas, I don't know what I should say about that. At that word, he shook his head wearily. Your wife certainly has a detestable face and a dull tongue, Ling Huchang thought. But it's not necessary that women in the world are all like that. It's so funny that you are using your own wife to generalize all women in the world. If little apprentice's sister were to have a detestable face and a dull tongue. His thoughts were interrupted when Flower Fairy suddenly showed up at the entrance of the shack, each hand holding a large bowl filled with wine. Alright, let's take a 5-minute break, you guys. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm back. Snow, huh? I like snow. I don't like to be in snow. Well, I don't like to be living in a place that snows, because that seems like a lot of hassle, a lot of trouble. You gotta shovel the snow out of your driveway. You gotta drive in the snow. Oh, my cousin lives in Chicago, and she like when she first moved there, she was telling me about like how driving is so bad. Like she told me that she was driving down somewhere and she lost control of her car, and she braked, right? But the car wouldn't stop because it was icy. The road was icy. So she just slipped down, slowly down, and then I think she hit another car. So she saw it coming, like she saw herself going towards the other car, but she had no way to stop it, right? So she just boom, bumped into the car. Yeah. So I like to play in snow. I don't want to live in a place that snows. So luckily, I live in California where it doesn't snow at all. Not at all. You know, when I was younger, when I was a little kid, it used to it used to be colder. Okay, it used to be colder, and I remember like waking up in the mornings, like in the winter, and there would be ice on the windshield and ice on the grass and stuff like that. You don't see that anymore, actually. Like nowadays, that doesn't happen. It doesn't get that cold anymore. It doesn't get below freezing anymore. Yeah, which sucks. Well, yeah, I don't like cold anyways. I'm a warmth type of person. Yeah, it does snow in the mountains. I mean, like I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, so it doesn't snow here at all. Yeah, we do go to Lake Tahoe to snowboard and stuff. Haven't done that in a while though. Chicago drivers do suck. I think they're good. City drivers are better drivers than rural drivers, or people who live in small towns. They just are, okay? Because we gotta navigate our way through like parking garages and parallel parking and all that stuff. We like city drivers are much better than rural drivers. Okay, so it looks like all those people who were trying to help Ling Hu Chong actually ended up hurting him instead. All right, all of those medicines are just hurting him, and plus, apparently now he no longer has the will to live. This dude, just because of his younger apprentice sister. Hey, Dr. Ping, have you cured him yet? Flower Fairy asked. He is incurable, Ping One Finger grunted, pulling a long face. Incurable? Flower Fairy was taken by surprise. What you gonna do then? Turning toward Ling Huchong, he said, Why don't you come out and drink with us then? Sure, Ling Huchong replied. No, you won't. You stay here, Ping One Finger bellowed in a croaked voice. That gave Flower Fairy a good fright. Turning on his wheels, he left in a hurry, splashing the bowls of wine all over himself. Young Master Ling Hu, Ping One Finger spoke again, this time in a much calmer voice. Even God himself would probably have a real hard time healing you completely. It is still possible to extend your life for several more months, or even several more years, though. But you must listen to my advice. Firstly, you must abstain from wine. Oh, I don't think that's gonna happen. Secondly, you must stop being fanciful and fickle. Stay away from all women. You can't even fancy any woman, period. Thirdly, you must not get into fights with others. If you successfully abstain yourself from wine, women, and fights, then you can probably live a few years longer. Ling Huchong suddenly broke into a loud laughter. What's so funny? Ping One Finger snarled. When a man lives his life, he has got to enjoy himself, carefree. If he couldn't even drink wine, fancy a woman, or defend himself when bullied, what good is he? He'd rather die before it's too late, to end it quickly. I demand you abstain yourself. If I can't cure you, my reputation will be completely ruined. Ping One Finger snapped. Reaching out with his left hand, Ling Huchong held onto the back of Ping One Finger's right hand. Senior Master Ping, I am utterly grateful for your great kindness, but life and death lie in the lap of fate. Even with your most excellent skills, it is no use to try to cure someone destined to die. Not being able to cure my injury will not affect Senior Master's reputation in the least. Crack! Another man stuck his head inside the shack, and it was Root Fairy this time. Ling Huchong, are you all cured? He shouted. Dr. Ping's skills are miraculous. He has already cured me, Ling Huchong answered. Wonderful, wonderful, Root Fairy cried. Rushing into the shack and grabbing Ling Huchong by his sleeves, he pulled. Let's go drink! Let's go drink! Senior Master, many thanks. Ling Huchong bowed deeply toward Ping One Finger, who totally ignored Ling Huchong and only murmured indistinguishable to himself. I knew he'd be able to cure you. He is the killer doctor, isn't he? Every time when he cures one, he has to kill one. If he can't cure one, what he's gonna do then? Wouldn't that be troublesome? Root Fairy grinned. Nonsense, Ling Huchong also grinned, and hand in hand the two of them walked out of the shack. People in the clearing had all been drinking merrily in clusters for a good while by now. When Ling Huchong walked among them, they kept presenting more and more wine to him. Well, he just broke the first rule. Not drinking wine. And to everybody's greatest satisfaction, Ling Huchong would pour it straight down his throat every time. Seeing how Ling Huchong laughed and joked together with them at ease and kept drinking to the limit of his capacity, everybody was overjoyed. Young Masters Ling Hu's heroic spirit shines above the ninth heaven. We are filled with heartfelt admiration, they all said. After drinking over a dozen bowls of wine in succession, Ling Huchong remembered Ping One Finger. Filling a bowl with wine and singing, "Enjoy the wine today while you still can," loudly, he walked back into the shack. Senior Master Ping, I propose a toast for you, he said. But what he saw startled him, and the shock instantly sobered him up. Under the fluttering candlelight, Ping One Finger's face appeared to have gone through dramatic changes. A more careful glance soon revealed the differences. The entirely dark hair on his head just moments ago had turned completely gray, and his once smooth and silky face now had deep wrinkles all over it. Within the mere half an hour, Ping One Finger seemed to have aged 20 years. Huddled up by the corner of the table, he was still murmuring to himself. When I cure one, I have to kill one. When I can't cure one, what do I do then? Ling Huchong's life does not really worth much. Senior Master, why can't you just let it go? Burning with the utmost gratitude, Ling Huchong exclaimed loudly. If I can't cure one, I'll just have to kill myself to suit the name Killer Doctor, Ping One Finger murmured. He stood up all of a sudden, and after swaying slightly a few times, he spat out a mouthful of blood and then collapsed to the ground. Astounded, Ling Huchong ran forward and propped Dr. Ping's head in his arms, only to find that Ping One Finger had stopped breathing. Carrying the body in his arms, Ling Huchong stood up slowly, sorrow welling up in his chest. Gradually, the noises of drinking and partying outside died away as silence slowly swept across, and the feeling of loneliness and desolation soon filled his heart. He just stood there quietly, as drops of tears rolled down his cheeks and fell to his feet. Ping One Finger's body seemed to have become heavier and heavier. Feeling completely exhausted, he no longer had enough strength to carry it, and had to put it back down to the ground gently. So he died. Just because he couldn't cure this guy. Young Master Ling Hu. A man walked into the shack quietly and called out in a whisper. With a quick glance, Ling Huchong recognized him immediately. It was Zhu Tianqiu. Senior Master Zhu, Dr. Ping has just passed away, he murmured in a mournful voice, but Zhu Qianqiu didn't seem to care much about it, and only whispered to him again. Young Master Ling... what was his voice again? Young Master Ling Hu... Oh, no. Young Master Ling Hu, I've come to ask you for a favor. If anyone asks you about me, would you mind saying that you've never met Zhu Qianqiu before? Why is that? Quite taken aback, Ling Huchong asked. It's really nothing. Only that, well, I'll see you, Zhu Qianqiu replied. As soon as Zhu Qianqiu walked out of the shack, another man entered. It was Sima Big this time. Young Master Ling Hu, I have this really embarrassing favor. Well, if anyone asks you to have gathered on top of the 5 Tyrant Ridge, would you please not mention my name? I'd really appreciate that. Sure, but what for? Ling Huchong replied. Sima Biggs' face suddenly turned bashful, as if he were a kid who had just been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. That, he murmured haltingly. Oh, Dr. Ping died. Okay. He deserves a bell. He is a true doctor, okay? Like, couldn't cure his patient, so he killed himself. He was a victim of his own reputation. If Ling Huchong is not worthy to be your friend, I certainly dare not to claim kinship, Ling Huchong said coldly. At those words, Sima Biggs' face turned scarlet, and in the next minute, he was already on his knees, bowing down deeply. Young Master Ling Hu, that's not how I feel at all. I was only asking you not to mention about my coming to the 5 Tyrant Ridge, so I don't make someone angry. If young master is still doubtful, then just forget about what I said. I was just breaking wind. Breaking wind means farting. You're being too courteous, Ling Huchong prodded Sima Big up and said hurriedly. May I ask you a question, chieftain? Why is it that your coming to the 5 Tyrant Ridge to see me would make someone angry? If this someone detests Ling Huchong so utterly, he can feel free to come after me, and me only. Sima Big shot his hands disapprovingly at once. What are you talking about, young master? He grinned. This someone couldn't have been more fond of you. Why would there be any ill feelings? Alas, I am so crude, putting my foot in my mouth again. Goodbye, young master. Well, in a word, Sima Big likes you very much. If there's anything you ever need me for, anything at all, just give me a howl. And even if I have to step through water or fire to get there, I'll be there. If I even show a slight frown, I am a stinking, rotten turtle egg. He gave a hard smack to his own chest, and then strode out of the shack, leaving a very confused Ling Huchong inside, alone. It's unquestionable that he was all sincere about what he said to me, Ling Huchong thought to himself. But why is it that his coming to the 5 Tyrant Ridge would make someone angry? Yet the one who is angry about it not only has no ill feelings about me, but also cared for me very much. This is really weird. If that someone is truly fond of me, he should have been very pleased that I've made so many friends. Suddenly an idea came upon him. Oh, I got it. This someone must have been a senior master from an orthodox school. That's why he was very fond of me, yet did not want me to befriend people from the unorthodox sects. Could he be Grand Uncle Master Feng? But people like that Chieftain Sima are simple and frank. What's wrong about making friends with them? Young Master Ling Hu? Someone cleared his throat and called out in a low voice. Chief Huang, come in, please, Ling Huchong replied, recognizing Huang Bolio's voice. Young Master Ling Hu, several friends wanted me to take a message to you. They had to run in light of some urgent matters that suddenly arose and didn't have any time to spare for a proper farewell. They ask for your pardon, Huang Bolio said after entering the shack. That's no problem, Ling Huchong replied, and sure enough, the noises from outside had become barely audible, and most of the people probably have already left. Well, Hongbo Liu continued hesitantly. This time we really rushed our fences. First of all, everybody was a bit curious. And secondly, we all just wanted to make up to the... Who would have thought? Well, of course, the thin-skinned one naturally wouldn't want to make this widely known, but we are just a bunch of boors and none had a clue. Besides, Chief Blue is a meow girl that... Huang Bolio just kept uttering words that did not even hang together, and Ling Huchang found himself bewildered. Chief Huang, are you trying to ask me not to mention what happened here on the Five Tyrant Ridge to anyone? He finally asked. Well, others can deny it, but I am stuck. That's what you get for being the host. I simply have no choice but to admit that the Heavenly River faction had entertained young master on the Five Tyrant Ridge. Hong Bolio let out a few hollow laughs, looking very embarrassed. It's not like entertaining me with wine is a crime guilty beyond forgiveness. Be a true man. What's this denying nonsense? Ling Huchang grunted. Young master is not like that. Hong Bolio smiled apologetically. Alas, I've always been a blockhead. If I had my daughter-in-law first, or even my granddaughter, we wouldn't have offended others. And still, haven't gotten a clue. Alas, I married my wife when I was 17 years old. If it weren't because my wife was so short-lived and died young, I wouldn't have been so ignorant of a girl's concern. They're giving us kind of little clues as to who the person may be. No wonder Master always says that these people are heterodox, Ling Huchang thought. This man is so incoherent. Just to entertain me with wine, he had to talk to his daughter-in-law and his granddaughter first. Then he blames his wife for being too short-lived. Well, what's done is done. I guess there's only one way out of this. Young master, would it be all right if you just say that you knew the old Huang from before, and we have been acquaintances for decades? Wait, that's not right. Would you please just say that our acquaintance can be traced back to 8 or 9 years back, and that you started drinking and gambling with the old Huang since you were 15 or 16 years old? Hong Bolio continued. Didn't I gamble and drink with you the year I was 6? How could you have forgotten? That's a total of 20 years of acquaintance. Ling Huchang grinned. Hong Bolio was taken by surprise, but it didn't take him long to realize that Ling Huchang was just being sarcastic. That's of course great if young master will say so, but 20 years ago I was in the business of raiding homes and plundering houses, things one wouldn't be very proud of. How could young master have made friends with me? Well, that... Hong Bolio squeezed out a wry smile. Chief Huang, your frankness about it just shows that you are as open as the day. I simply must have made you a friend of mine 20 years ago, Ling Huchang exclaimed. Excellent. 20-year-long friends we are. Hong Bolio was ecstatic. After throwing a quick glance back over his shoulder, he whispered, Please take care, young master. You have a very kind heart. Even though you are not feeling well at the moment, I'm sure your illness can be cured eventually. Besides, the holy, this infinitely resourceful, ouch! With a loud cry, he suddenly turned on his heels and walked off in big strides. What holy, infinitely resourceful? This is so bizarre, Ling Huchang couldn't help but think. Sounds of hoofbeats became further and further away, and in the end, all the noises died down. After staring blankly at the corpse of Ping One Finger for some moments, Ling Huchang walked out of the shack and immediately found himself thunderstruck. The ridge was entirely deserted by now. There wasn't even a shadow anywhere, and all that was left was the utter silence that had swept across everything. He had thought that even though the many people had stopped drinking and some were leaving the ridge, they wouldn't have all left so abruptly. Master, wife, he called out, raising his voice, but no one answered. Second apprentice brother, third apprentice brother, Little apprentice sister, he called out again, but still no one answered. Other than the crescent moon shining sideways from a corner of the sky, he was the only one atop the spacious yet breezeless 5-tyrant ridge. Wine kettles, bowls, and plates scattered all over the ground. Moreover, many kinds of hats, cloaks, and capes were littered everywhere. Apparently, everyone had left so hastily that they didn't even have a spare moment to collect their belongings. Feeling completely bewildered, Ling Huchong thought to himself, they have left in such a hurry, as though some kind of great scourges were coming this way, and they had to flee right away. When I first met them, these people all looked as though they feared nothing in this world at all. Why have they suddenly all turned timid? This is so bizarre. And where on earth have master wife, little apprentice sister, and the others gone to? If danger is really coming this way, why didn't anyone warn me? Suddenly, a sensation of dreariness and loneliness rolled over him as he moaned at the thoughts that even though it was a big world he lived in, yet no one really cared about him or his safety. Just moments ago, there had been crowds of people who lined up to make up to him, but now even master and master wife, who had always been on intimate terms with him, had abandoned him just the same. A cold, plunging sensation in his stomach soared, which subsequently triggered the energy streams inside him to suddenly surge up. He swayed and then collapsed to the ground. A few groans escaped him as he struggled to get back onto his feet vainly, feeling completely feeble in all his limbs. Closing his eyes, he rested for a few moments and then struggled again to try to get up. But this time he tried too hard. Everything seemed to have suddenly faded into a complete darkness as a buzzing sound ringed loudly in his ears. Before he knew it, he had fallen unconscious. Still in a state of wooziness and completely unaware of how long he had been out cold, Ling Huchong heard the soft strokes of a zither echoing in his ears indistinctly. Little by little, he regained his senses, and the elegant and soothing sounds of the zither play, also became clearer and clearer, which put his mind at complete ease. The song was none other than the song of peace and serenity, which the granny at Luoyang had played for him before. As soon as Ling Huchong recognized the music, he felt as though he had been drifting in the boundless ocean for days, and had suddenly taken in the glimpse of an island. And had suddenly taken in the glimpse of an island in the near distance. Feeling utterly cheerful, he got back onto his feet. The sound of the music seemed to have come from within the shack made of straws, so Ling Huchong staggered his way toward the shack. The shack door had been shut, and Ling Huchong stopped about 6 or 7 paces from it, thinking the sound of the zither could only mean one thing. The granny from the bamboo green alley in the Luoyang city must have come. Even back in Luoyang city, she didn't want me to see her face. How could I just push open the door and enter without permission? At that thought, he said with a bow, Ling Huchong is here to show his respects to the senior master. Alright, so it looks like we meet the granny again. The zither made a few tinkling sounds as though replying to Ling Huchong, and then resumed playing the song. Ling Huchong felt as though the song had carried much comforting and consoling meanings, which gave him ineffable ease. Realizing that after all there was at least one person who still cared for him, he found himself washed over by the sentiment of gratitude. Someone is playing the zither. Those heterodoxy, evil scoundrels haven't all left yet. A voice suddenly rose from a distance. How dare these evil, lewd devils come to Hunan province to act unruly? Are they stupid enough to think nothing of us? A resonant voice replied, and after saying these words, he snarled, raising his voice even higher. What kind of scumbags and slime balls are you? Running wild on the 5-tyrant ridge. Give me your names, all of you. With resourceful inner energy, these words exploded like thunders. No wonder Sima Big, Hongbo Liu, and Zhu Qianqiu and the others were scared off at once. There are really master hands from the orthodox schools coming to challenge them, Ling Hucheng thought. But deep in his heart, he couldn't help thinking that running away like this was not something a true man would have done. But if the people coming could have scared away so many people, they had to be senior masters with extraordinary martial arts skills. What if they asked me about it? How would I answer? It's probably better if I don't let them see me. At that thought, he walked hurriedly behind the shack. And in regard of the old granny inside the shack, they probably won't trouble her, he thought to himself. By then, the zither inside the shack had stopped playing. Sounds of footsteps rose as 3 men walked onto the ridge. As soon as they arrived at the top of the ridge, all 3 uttered a cry of surprise. Obviously, none of them had expected to see such a silent and empty scene atop the ridge. Where did the scoundrels go? The man with the thunderous Where did the scoundrels go? The man with the thunderous voice asked. Obviously, after hearing that the 2 master hands from the Shaolin school were coming to rid evil, they had all fled, tails between their hind legs. A man in a soft voice answered. Don't mention it. I say mostly it had something to do with the prestige of Brother Tan of the Kunlun school, another man said with a big smile, and all 3 broke into loud laughter. I see. So 2 of them are from the Shaolin school, and the 3rd one is from the Kunlun school. Ling Hucheng thought. The Shaolin school has always been the most reputable school in the martial world ever since the early Tang dynasty, just as the Shaolin school alone already enjoys a much more renowned name than the entire alliance of the 5 mountains sword alliance, and their strength perhaps was stronger as well. And furthermore, the headmaster of the Shaolin school, Abbot Feng Cheng, is well respected by the entire martial world. As regard to the Kunlun school, Master mentioned it many times before that the sword arts of the Kunlun school fly its own colors and have qualities of both power and speed. When these 2 schools have joined forces, the combined power can be devastating. Most probably they are only vanguards, and more reinforcement are just on their way. But why did Master and Master Wife have to avoid them? Then he thought better of it. I got it. Master is the headmaster of a reputable orthodox school. It would be embarrassing for him to be mixed up with people like Hongbo Liu, who don't have a good reputation. Didn't we just hear someone playing the zither a moment ago? Where is that one hiding then? Brother Xin, Brother Yi, there is something odd here. The man named Tan from the Kunlun school spoke again. That's right. Brother Tan, you are so attentive. Let's search around and ferret him out, the man with the thunderous voice suggested. Senior apprentice Brother Xin, I'll check out that shack over there, another voice replied. From these words, Ling Hucheng could tell that the man's surname was Yi, and the man with the thunderous voice had a surname of Xin, and was the man's senior apprentice brother. Then he heard the man named Yin walking toward the shack. I am alone by myself. It's already late at night. It would not have been appropriate manners for a female to greet male visitors. A clear voice of a female rose from inside the shack. She's a woman, Xin uttered. Wait, Xin is the guy with a thunderous voice. She's a woman, Xin uttered. Was it you who played the zither earlier? The man named Yi asked. That's right, the granny answered. Why don't you play a few notes for us? Yi proposed. I did not know you before. How could I play the zither for you, sir? The granny replied. Who cares? Xin let out a disgruntled snort. So many excuses. I bet there's something odd inside that shack. Let's get in there and find out. What is a woman alone doing on the 5 Tyrant Ridge so late at night? Most likely you are of the same kind as those heterodoxy devils. We are coming in for a search, Yi exclaimed and walked toward the shack door. Hold it! Ling Huchong stepped out from his hiding place and yelled, blocking the entrance to the shack. Having not expected this at all, the three men were slightly taken aback, but when they saw that it was only a young man, they didn't care much. Who are you, young man? What are you doing hiding so sneakily in the dark? Xin yelled loudly. I am Ling Huchong, an apprentice of the Huashan School. I am here to pay my respects to the senior masters of the Shaolin School and the Kunlun School, Ling Huchong replied, bowing deeply toward the three. Oh, you are from the Huashan School. What are you doing here? Yi let out a snort and inquired. Ling Huchong glanced at the three men. The man named Xin was not particularly tall, but his chest protruded out like a drum. No wonder he had such a thunderous voice. Another middle-aged man wore the same type of dark reddish-brown long robe. Then he had to be the one named Yi from the same school. The man named Tan from the Kunlun school carried a sword on his back. With a loose robe with long sleeves, he dressed with negligent grace. This chat is like 15 seconds behind me. Unfortunately. Instead of waiting for Ling Huchong to answer, Yi asked again, if you say you are an apprentice of an orthodox school, why are you on top of the Five Tyrant Ridge? Ever since Ling Huchong had heard them cursing wildly, without a qualm, he had been greatly annoyed. Now when he heard the incivility in the man's tone, he rebuffed. The three senior masters are also members of the orthodox schools. Aren't you on top of the Five Tyrant Ridge as well? Well said, the man named Tan laughed. About this zither-playing woman in the shack. Do you know who she is? She is an elderly granny with eminent virtues, who stands aloof from the worldly affairs, Ling Huchong replied. Nonsense, Yi reproved. Listen to her voice. How can she be that old? What granny rubbish. So this granny has a melodious voice. That's nothing strange. Even her nephew is 20 or 30 years older than you, not mentioning Granny herself. Ling Huchong grinned. Move aside. We'll go in and take a look ourselves, Yi demanded. But Ling Huchong stretched his arms and blocked the way. Granny has already said it. It's already late at night, and it would not have been appropriate manners for a female to greet male visitors. She doesn't know any of you. Why would she want to see you for no reasons? Yi suddenly whisked his sleeve, which sent a stream of force sweeping toward Ling Huchong. Having lost all of his inner strength, Ling Huchong had no way of withstanding the strike. Thump, he collapsed down. Yi did not expect him to have no inner strength at all, and was taken by quite a surprise. You say that you are an apprentice of the Huashan school? I'm afraid you are just blowing out your own horn, he sneered and then walked toward the shack again. Ling Huchong stood back up, a scratch mark on his face, apparently from the sharp rocks on the ground. Granny does not want to see you. How can you be so insolent? Back in the city of Luoyang, I talked with Granny for many days and still didn't get to see her. Hey chap, watch out for your manners. You'd better move aside, or you'll only end up with another big fall, Yi said with a menacing grin. The Shaolin School is the most reputable orthodox school in the entire martial world. The two of you must have been elite layman masters of the Shaolin School, and this one must have been a renowned master of the Kunlun School. But bullying an elderly granny late at night, aren't you afraid to become the laughingstock for the entire martial world? Ling Huchong asked. Where do you find so much rubbish? Yi bellowed. Suddenly he shot his left hand out, and with a loud smack, slapped Ling Huchong heavily in the left cheek. Although Ling Huchong had lost all of his inner strength, seeing Yi lowering his right shoulder slightly, he knew immediately that Yi was going to strike him with his left hand. He wanted to dodge out of the way hurriedly, except that his body did not comply, and the strike landed on his face, solid and square. The force sent his body spinning, and he fell down once again. Junior apprentice brother Yi, this man doesn't know martial arts. There's no need to lower yourself to the same level as him. Those evil devils have all ran away. Let's go, the man named Xin proposed. All the heterodoxy evil devils in the Shandong province and the Henan province congregated on top of the Five Tyrant Ridge all of a sudden, and then dispersed into nowhere so abruptly. The congregation was strange, and the dispersion was also peculiar. We must get to the bottom of it. I think there's a good chance we'll be able to find some clues inside that shack, Yi replied. Ling Huchong stood up again, a sword now emerging in his grip. Oh, now he has a sword. We'll see what happens. Senior Master Yi, I owe this granny in the shack great favor. As long as I am still breathing, I won't let you offend her, he declared firmly. With what? Just with the sword in your hand? Yi burst into loud laughter, sarcastically. I am a junior with only insignificant skills. How can I ever be a match for an elite fighter of the Shaolin school? However, nothing can weigh more than the righteous reasons. If you want to enter the shack, you'll have to kill me first, Ling Huchong replied with dignity. Junior apprentice brother Yi, this chap certainly has got moral integrity. Why don't we have it his way and just let it go? Xin urged. I heard that the sword arts of your Huashan school are rather original, and there's also the breakup of the sword branch and the Qi branch. Now, do you belong to the sword branch or the Qi branch, or rather the fart branch? Ha 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 ha. Good one, Yi. You sure got him. Yi grinned an evil grin and then broke into a loud laughter. At the sound of his laughter, Xin and Tan also joined him and laughed out loud. Use one's strength to bully the weak. What kind of reputable orthodox schools are you? Did you say that you were members of the Shaolin school? You probably are only boasting. Ling Huchong spoke again, loud and clear. Exasperated, Yi raised his right hand and was ready to strike it toward Ling Huchong's chest. If this strike got launched, for sure Ling Huchong would be killed on the spot. Hold it! Xin stopped Yi from striking out. Ling Huchong, are you saying that apprentices of a reputable orthodox school cannot fight the others? Apprentices of a reputable orthodox school always have legit reasons behind each fight, Ling Huchong answered. Yi stretched his palm out slowly. I'll count 1, 2, 3. By the time I count to 3, if you don't still move aside, I'll break 3 ribs of yours. 1? Breaking 3 ribs of mine? That's nothing. Ling Huchong let out a slight smile. 2? Yi counted loudly. Little friend, this junior apprentice of mine really put words into deeds. I think you'd better move aside quickly, Xin suggested. But words coming out of my mouth also count. Ling Huchong is not dead yet. How can I let you insult the granny? Ling Huchong replied with a smile. After these words, Ling Huchong knew that Yi's palm strike would be soon coming. Taking a deep breath secretly, he put all his strength onto his right arm. But the efforts immediately brought a violent pain to his chest as thousands of imaginary golden stars started flickering wildly in front of his eyes. 3! Yi snarled and took a step forward with his left foot. Seeing that Ling Huchong had his back leaning against the door plank of the shack, a sneer brewing on the corner of his mouth, having no intention to move aside, Yi struck out with his right palm. Ling Huchong almost suffocated when the force carried by the strike reached him. He pushed his long sword out, the tip of his sword pointing at the middle of Yi's palm. The positioning and the timing of the push were simply brilliant. Yi's palm strike was already fully executed, and it was already too late for him to withdraw the strike. A light, dull sound and a loud cry of pain echoed as the tip of the longsword penetrated the middle of Yi's palm. Pulling his palm backward hastily with another dull sound, he had drawn his hand off the sword tip, but the damage was done. He had inflicted a severe injury. Leaping back dozens of feet, he drew his longsword by his waist with a mixed feeling of shock and fury. The damn chap was only acting dumb. So you actually have outstanding kung fu. I'll fight you to the end, he growled. Xin, Yi, and Tan, all three of them, were experts in sword arts. Seeing that when Ling Hucheng pushed his sword out, he wasn't using any move, and only with his control of the positioning and timing of his sword, he had managed to have his opponent sending his palm onto the tip of the sword of his own accord. His attainments in sword arts had truly reached the highest stage of the realm. Although Yi was infuriated, he dared not to underestimate Ling Hucheng. Holding the long sword in his left hands, he shot out 3 quick thrusts, all of which were fake attacks to test the opponent. Each of the thrusts only went halfway before he drew the sword back. That night, when Ling Hucheng had blinded 15 elite fighters outside of the Buddha of Herb monastery, even though he had already lost all his inner strength by then, he had still been in a much better shape compared to now. The several ordeals since then had really done him in. By now, he almost felt incapable of raising his sword. Seeing the 3 fake attacks from Yi and how the sword tip vibrated continuously, he knew those must have been superior sword moves of the Shaolin school, which only made him more reluctant, making an enemy of making Yi an enemy. I intend absolutely no offense to the 3 senior masters. If the 3 of you would walk away, I will apologize most sincerely. It's too late to beg for mercy now, Yi grunted. Thrusting his sword forward in lightning speed, he shot the sword tip toward Ling Hucheng's throat. Ling Hucheng knew too well that with his current weak physical condition, there was not a chance that he would be able to dodge out of this attack. Having no alternatives, he also thrust his sword forward. Even though his thrust was launched after Yi's thrust, it reached the target earlier. With a thud, the tip of his sword struck Yi on the vital acupoint on his left wrist. Yi opened his palm in pain, and his long sword, fell to the ground. By then, the light of dawn had already appeared from the east, staring at the drops of blood rolling down his left wrist and then dripping down to the ground. Yi couldn't even believe his eyes. After a long while, he heaved a deep sigh, turned around, and strode away. The man named Xin never wanted to become enemies of the Huashan school to start with. Now, after he witnessed this brilliant and unsurpassed thrust Ling Hucheng had just put on display, he knew he wouldn't even stand a chance fighting Ling Hucheng. Concerned about his apprentice brother's injury, he called out, "Apprentice brothers Yi!" and then ran after Yi. Are you really an apprentice of the Huashan sword school? The man named Tan finally asked after gazing at Ling Hucheng for a good while. Yes, I am, Ling Hucheng answered as he struggled to maintain his balance on the verge of a total collapse. Tan could tell that Ling Hucheng was suffering from very serious internal injuries. Even though Ling Hucheng had showed outstanding sword skills, all he had to do was to wait a few moments more. He didn't even have to attack, and Ling Hucheng would just collapse on his own. One injured and one scared away. Both elite fighters from the Shaolin school suffered setbacks because of this young man from the Huashan school. If I can knock him down and then seize him, bringing him to the Shaolin temple, not only would I have done the Shaolin school a great favor, our Kunlun school would also look real good in the central region of the martial world. Tan thought inwardly as he took a step forward and then said with a smile, Young man, your sword skills are not too shabby at all. How about a contest in the realm of palm and hand techniques between the 2 of us? What do you say? So he wants to fight with palm and hand instead of sword. Just a glance at Tan's face had given Ling Hucheng enough idea about what Tan had in his mind. This man is so deceitful. He is even more detestable than that Yi from the Shaolin school, he couldn't help but think. Raising his sword, he stabbed it out toward Tan's shoulder, but his strength drained out of him so quickly that the stab only traveled halfway before he lost the grip of the sword. Clank! The sword fell to the ground. Tan was almost ecstatic. Wasting no time, he struck out with a powerful palm strike, and the strike landed heavily on Ling Huchang's chest. Ling Huchang's body jerked back violently as blood spurted out from his mouth. There was only a short space between the two, and the spurt of blood splashed all over Tan's face, leaving even a few drops inside his mouth. Tan felt the taste of blood inside his mouth, but he didn't pay much attention to it, and raised his right palm, ready for another palm strike. Deeply afraid that Ling Huchang might pick up his sword and launch a counterattack, but suddenly he felt great dizziness, and before he knew it, he had dropped to the ground. Seeing that Tan had suddenly fainted when he himself was at his last gasp, Ling Huchang was taken by total surprise, but at the meanwhile, he couldn't help feeling very lucky. Tan's face now showed a shade of dark color, and then the muscle on his face twisted and twitched, making his face look utterly strange and horrible. You have only yourself to blame for not initializing your inner strength properly, Ling Huchang muttered. He looked around him in all directions. It was indeed a very strange scene. There was not another person on the 5 Tyrant Ridge. The only sound was the chirping from many birds on treetops, and the only things left were the many wine kettles, bowls, and dish plates, which scattered all over the place. Whew. Alright, I need another break. Let's do another 5-minute break. This might be the last break. Alright, 5 minutes. What's the name of the song? It is from Rurouni Kenshin. It's called Departure. Departure. So that's a good song. I read that manga way back. Yeah, and I watched the anime too. It was so good. Yeah. Yeah, kind of weird at the end when that one Chinese dude with the Chinese sword came, but overall it was good. Did you guys watch wait, what was it called? Samurai X, the standalone movie about Rurouni Kenshin? That was good too, right? That one was more serious than the anime. But it was very good. Oh, Veronica. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked the story. Alright, so Ling Huchong basically kicked these guys' asses. Even though he's super sick, right? So yeah, so we once again understand that he is like a high level fighter now, okay? These 3 guys were like high level masters in their schools, and he just kicked their asses. Alright, now we meet the granny again. Granny, how have you been these days? After wiping the blood off his lips with his sleeves, he asked. Young master, you are too fatigued right now. Please sit down and take a rest, the granny replied. Ling Huchang was truly exhausted by now. Hearing the granny's words, he sat down to the ground. The zither music rose gently in the shack once again. It almost felt like a stream of clear spring, which had washed over his entire body, and then flew through him. Ling Huchang felt as though his body had become lighter and lighter and had floated on top of the white clouds that felt like cotton wool. After a long time, the sound of the zither became lower and lower, until eventually it was so dim that it was barely audible. Ling Hu Chong felt much rejuvenated, getting back onto his feet. He bowed deeply. Many thanks, Granny. I have benefited a great deal from your kind music. You risked your life to repel powerful enemies, saving me from being humiliated by rascals. It is I who feel thankful for you, the granny replied. Don't mention it. I was only doing the right thing. The granny fell. Something tells me that this granny didn't need his help at all. The granny fell silent, and a few tender sounds from the zither echoed, as though the granny was plucking the strings of the zither randomly while wavering upon something in her mind. After a while, she asked, Where are you going now? Feeling of desolation welled up in Ling Hu Chong's heart, which almost choked him and made him cough uncontrollably for a good while. It just seemed that there was not a place between heaven and earth he could shelter himself. I have nowhere to go. After finally catching his breath, Ling Hu Chong murmured. Aren't you going to look for your master and master wife? How about your apprentice brothers and apprentice sister? Them, I don't know where they went. With my injury, the chance of finding them is too slim. Besides, even if I do find them, alas. Ling Hu Chong heaved a deep sigh, thinking, even if I do find them, so what? They don't want me now. Your injury is very severe. Why don't you visit some beautiful scenery to relieve boredom? Wouldn't that be better than feeling miserable and in vain? Granny, you are right. Ling Hu Chong let out a few laughs. I never really cared much about life and death to begin with. Farewell, for now. I guess I'll be strolling about for some fun. After bowing toward the shack one more time, Ling Hu Chong turned around and walked away, but only after 3 steps he heard the granny's voice again. Are you leaving? Are you leaving already? Yes, Ling Hu Chong halted his steps. But you have severe injuries. If you travel by yourself, there will be no one to tend upon you along the trip. That won't be appropriate. Sensing the caring and a concern in the granny's words, Ling Hu Chong felt another surge of warmth in his heart. Thank you, Granny, for your kind concern. My injury is incurable. It's really no difference whether I die earlier or later, here or there. I see. But... The granny paused for quite a while before finishing her sentence. What if those 2 rascals from the Shaolin school come back to cause more trouble? What should I do? And that Tan Diren from the Kunlun school is only unconscious temporarily. Once he wakes up, I'm afraid he'll trouble me more. Granny, where are you going? Why don't I escort you for a stage of the journey? Ling Hu Chong suggested. That would have been great, except that there's a big difficulty involved. I am afraid that it will trouble you a great deal, the granny answered. Granny, you saved my life. It's no trouble at all. The granny heaved a sigh and then said, A very formidable enemy of mine came to the bamboo green alley to give me trouble. That's why I have come here to hide. But I am sure he would trace me down in no time. Your injury has not recovered and won't be able to fight him. I only want to find a secluded place to hide from him temporarily, so I can wait till all my helps arrive before settling accounts with him. If I ask you to escort me, then firstly you are injured, and secondly, wouldn't it bore you to death for such an active and lively young man to accompany such an old granny? Ling Hu Chong burst into loud laughter. Is that it? That's a piece of cake. Where are you headed? I'll go with you. Even if it's the end of the earth, as long as I am not dead, I'll accompany you there. I'll be troubling you then. Are you serious that even if it's the end of the earth, you'll still accompany me there? The granny asked, her voice filled with joy. My granny's voice sounds different today? Yeah. I can't do it. I think my throat is kind of. If I go that, I don't know, if I do that again, it gets cracky. Probably because I've been reading for a while. But there's another difficulty here, the granny added. What is that? Ling Huchang asked. My face is very ugly. Anyone seeing my face will be very much frightened. Therefore, I do not wish anyone to see my face. Otherwise, I wouldn't have objected to those 3 men when they wanted to enter the shack to see me. You must promise me that under any circumstance, you will never cast a look at me. You can't look at my face, my body, my hands, my feet, or even my clothes. I am grateful that Granny cared for me, and I respect Granny very much. What has Granny's appearance has anything to do with it? Ling Huchang replied. If you can't promise that, please leave now. Fine, I promise. I promise that I'll never cast a look at you under any circumstances. Ling Huchang agreed hurriedly. My granny's voice was hotter last time? I guess. I don't know about that. You can't even cast a look at my back, the granny added. Could your back have been utterly ugly as well? Ling Huchang thought to himself. The ugliest back had to be from a midget or a hunchback. But even those are no big deal. It's not gonna be easy if I can't look at your back throughout such a long journey. You can't do it? The granny asked, sensing Ling Huchang's hesitation. I can. If I cast even one look at Granny, I'll cut my own eyes out, Ling Huchang answered. You'd better remember that. You go first. I'll follow behind you. Sure, Ling Huchang answered, and then began taking the path down the ridge. Sounds of footsteps rose behind him. The granny followed. After walking for a few dozen feet, the granny handed Ling Huchang a branch from behind. You can use this branch as your crutch. Okay, Ling Huchang answered. Using the branch as a crutch to support himself, he walked down the ridge slowly. After some more walking, he suddenly remembered something. Granny, you know that name of that Tan from the Kunlun school? He asked. Oh, that Tan Diren is a good hand. Is a good hand amount in the 2nd generation of apprentices in the Kunlun school. He mastered about 60 to 70% of his master's sword skills, but compared to his big apprentice brother and 2nd apprentice brother, he is still far behind. That big fellow Xin Guoliang from the Shaolin school has better sword skills than him. So that man with a loud voice is named Xin Guoliang. He seemed to be reasonable. His junior apprentice brother's name is Yu Guozi. That one was a total jerk. Those 2 thrusts of yours, one penetrating his palm, the other one injuring his left wrist, were quite handsome. I had no choice. Alas, now I've started a feud with the Shaolin school. That can only bring endless of future trouble. What about the Shaolin school? There's a good chance we can beat them. I didn't expect that Tan Diren would hit you with a palm strike, and I had no idea that you would spurt blood. Granny, you saw everything? I wonder why that Tan Diren suddenly passed out cold. Didn't you know? Blue Phoenix and the 4 Meow girls under her command gave you a lot of blood. They are around venomous pests days and nights, so naturally their blood contained poisons. Besides, the 5 Sylph wine is utmost toxic. When your poisonous blood splashed into his mouth, of course he could not stand it. Oh, now he has poisonous blood. Oh, Ling Huchang finally understood. How could I stand it then? How odd. I never had any grudges against that Chief Blue. I wonder why she would want to harm me. Who said that she wanted to harm you? She had all good intentions. Wishful thinking, wanting to cure your injury and all. To poison your blood, yet preserve your life. is the trick her 5 sylph sect is really good at. I see. I thought that Chief Blue had no ill wills toward me. Dr. Ping One Finger said that her medicinal wine was the utmost tonic. Of course she had no ill wills toward you. She couldn't have had more good wills, the granny exclaimed, which was returned by a smile on Ling Huchang's face. Do you think that Tan Diren will survive it? That depends on his own internal strength and how much poisonous blood splashed onto his mouth. Remembering the expression on Tan Diren's face after he was poisoned, Ling Huchang couldn't help but shiver. After walking another 100 feet, he suddenly remembered another thing and shouted out immediately. Oops, Granny, will you please wait here for me? I need to get back onto the ridge. Why? The granny asked. The remains of Dr. Ping's body is still on the ridge and have not been buried yet. No need to go back. I've already handled his body. Oh, so Granny has already given Dr. Ping a burial? Nah, it wasn't a burial. I dissolved his body using dissolvent powder. Oh shit. Did you expect me to stare at a dead corpse all night long? Ping One Finger didn't look that great when he was still alive. After he turned into a corpse, you can imagine how he looked. Ling Huchang answered with a snort, but he couldn't help thinking that the granny's behavior was beyond all expectations. He owed Ping One Finger great favor, and after Ping One Finger passed away, he should have given him a proper burial. But this granny opted to dissolve the body using dissolvent powder. The more he thought about this, the more uneasy he became. But as to why it was wrong to dissolve the body using dissolvent powder, he could not say. After the both of them traveled for over a mile, they had arrived at the plain at the foot of the ridge. Open your palm, the granny demanded. Okay, Ling Huchang answered, feeling surprised, wondering what kind of trick she was going to play this time. He opened his palm as directed, and then with a small pop, a small object was thrown from behind his back and fell right in the middle of his palm. It was a yellow pill about the size of one's little finger. Swallow it. Swallow it, then take a rest under that big tree, the granny directed. Sure, Ling Huchang answered, and then swallowed the pill down his throat. I gave you medicine to extend your life only because I rely on your brilliant sword skills for a safe journey, so you won't suddenly die on me and make me lose my escort. It's not because I have any good intentions for you, much less an attempt to save your life. You'd better remember that, the granny exclaimed. Oh, why is she so mean now? Ling Huchang acknowledged with a snort. Walking by the tree, he sat down, leaning against the trunk of the tree, when a stream of warmth rose up from his lower abdomen and then flowed into the many passages and channels inside his body. It felt as though the stream of warmth also carried much energy and rejuvenated all his internal organs and arteries. This pill is obviously of great benefit for me, but the granny just wouldn't admit that she cared for me and kept saying that she was only taking advantage of me. There are only people who deny everything once they took advantage of others. Why does she speak the opposite? Ling Huchang pondered, and when she threw the pill onto my palm, the pill did not even bounce. Apparently she threw it with a sinking force, which could only have been executed with a very high-level inner energy. Her kung fu skills are much higher than mine. She doesn't need me to protect her. Well, if this is what she wants, I'll just comply. Granny, are you tired? Let's go now. After a brief rest, Ling Huchang stood up and said, I am tired. I need a bit more rest, the granny answered. Okay, Ling Huchang replied as he thought to himself, for elder people, despite how excellent their kung fu skills might be, they still lack the level of vigor a youth possesses. I really should have shown more solicitude for the granny instead of only thinking about myself. At that thought, he sat back down. Let's go, the granny finally said after a long while. Ling Huchong answered with a nod and then walked at the front, while the granny followed him behind. The pill certainly made a great difference. Ling Huchong found himself walking at a brisk pace, following the granny's instructions. He always picked desolated mountain trails. After a few miles of walking, the mountain trail gradually turned more and more rugged and rough, which made Ling Huchong breathe more heavily. I am tired. I need to take a break, the granny suddenly announced. Sure, Ling Huchong responded, and then sat down on the ground, thinking to himself. Her breathing is still deep and calm. She can't be tired at all. She obviously wants me to take a break, but would rather claim that she was the one tired. After resting for about 10 minutes, the two set out walking again. After turning a mountain ridge, they suddenly heard a loud voice talking. Everybody hurry up with your meal. We need to get out of here as soon as possible. This place is apt to get into trouble, the voice exclaimed, which was answered by dozens of people all over. Ling Huchong paused his steps and glanced over, and saw dozens of men sitting in a circle, eating their food on a stretch of meadow by the mountain stream. By then, these men had also spotted Ling Huchong, and someone had already shouted out, It's young Master Ling Hu! Oh, not at this again. Ling Huchong vaguely remembered seeing them on top of the Five Tyrant Ridge the night before, but when he was about to shout his greetings, suddenly the dozens of men all froze and goggled toward the direction behind his back in dead silence, their faces looking totally awkward. Some looked terrified, while some others looked perplexed and alarmed, as though they had suddenly encountered something so inexpressibly peculiar, something they did not know how to deal with. As soon as Ling Huchong saw the bizarre scene, he wanted to look back over his shoulder to find out what on earth had happened behind him that would have turned the dozens of people into clay idols and wooden dummies, but he suddenly realized these people only reacted like this because they saw the granny behind him, and he had promised the granny that he would never cast a look at her. At that thought, he hurriedly jerked his head to look forward again. The strength he put in was so overwhelming that his neck muscle ached because of it. But meanwhile, his curiosity soared. Why are these people so terrified at the sight of the granny? Could the granny have been so gruesome looking that it makes her totally out of this world? He couldn't help but think. Suddenly, a man raised the dagger he had been using to slice meat and stabbed toward his two eyes. Instantly, blood gushed out of his eye sockets. What are you doing? Astonished, Ling Huchong shouted out. I lost my eyes 3 days ago and have not been able to see anything ever since, the man exclaimed loudly. Within seconds, another 2 men also drew their short knives and blinded themselves with a few quick stabs. We've been blinded for ages. We could not see a thing, they also exclaimed. Ling Huchong was dumbstruck. Seeing that the rest of the men in the group also each drew out their daggers and awls and were about to blind themselves just the same, he yelled out hastily, Hey, hold it! Let's talk it over! Don't hurt yourself! Why do you do that? I was going to swear an oath that I'll never dare talk about it, but I am afraid that it would not be convincing, a man answered in a saddened voice. Granny, please do something. Ask them to stop blinding themselves, will you? Ling Huchong shouted. Very well, I trust you. There's an island called the Twine Dragon Island in the East Sea. Has any of you ever heard of it before? The granny asked. There's an island called the Twine Dragon Island, about 200 miles from the Quanzhou city in Fujian. I heard that it's untraversed and desolated island, an old man answered. That's the one. Why don't you set out right away to have some fun on the Twine Dragon Island? There's no need for you to ever come back to the central region again, the granny said. We'll set out right away, the dozens of men answered in unison, all looking very pleased. We'll never speak to anybody else on our way there, someone added. Whether you speak or not, what has that gotten anything to do with me? The granny spoke in a chilling tone. Right, right. I was just talking rubbish, the man answered immediately, and raising his hands high, he began slapping his own face. Go now, the granny ordered. At the command, the dozens of men broke into a gallop. The three blind fellows, helped by the arm by their fellow companions, also walked away in strides. Within moments, all of them had vanished from sight. Ling Huchong gasped with astonishment. Just a few words from the granny have banished all those people to a desolate island in the East Sea, with no hope of returning within this life. Yet all these people appeared highly delighted at the punishment, as though they have just received their pardon. This is just so inconceivable. He walked on silently, many thoughts surging in his mind. Thinking that the granny following behind him had to be the most eccentric oddball he had ever seen. I just hope we don't walk into more friends from the Five Tyrant Ridge along our way, Ling Huchong thought to himself. They all came warm-heartedly for curing my injury. If by any chance they bump into the granny, then either they had to blind themselves or be banished to some barren island in the sea. That would certainly not be worthwhile. It looks as if the reason why Chief Huang, Chief Sima, and Zhu Qianchu asked me to pretend that I had never met them, and the reason why the many people on the Five Tyrant Ridge dispersed all of a sudden, were all because of this granny. They were scared of this granny. So what kind of horrible monster is she? At that thought, he couldn't help but shiver. After they had walked another 3 or 4 miles, a voice suddenly shouted a distance away behind them. That's Ling Huchong over there. The voice was extremely loud and thunderous. Ling Huchong didn't even have to guess whose voice that had belonged to. Xin Guo Liang from the Shaolin school. I don't want to see him. You muddle with him, the granny declared. All right, Ling Huchong answered as the scrubs by his side rustled. The granny had hidden herself among the bushes. Uncle Master, that Ling Huchong is wounded. He can't walk very fast. Xin Guoliang's voice rose again. There was actually still quite a distance between them, but because Xin Guoliang's voice was simply too loud, even just a casual remark from him would make its way into Ling Huchong's ears clearly. So he came with his Uncle Master, Ling Huchong thought. Since they've already seen him, he decided to just sit by the side of the path and wait for them. After a long while, sounds of footsteps echoed as several men walked along the path in quick strides. Xin Guoliang and Yi Guozi were both among the group. There were also 2 monks and a middle-aged man. One of the monks was a very old man with many wrinkles across his face. The other monk was about 30 years of age and held a Buddhist spade in his hand. Ling Huchong stood up and then bowed down deeply. Ling Huchong, a junior of the Huashan school, here shows his respects to the many senior masters of the Shaolin school. May I have the honor to hear senior masters' names? He greeted. Chap, Yi Guozi yelled, but interrupted by the old monk. Old monk's Buddhist name is Feng Sheng, the old monk replied. As soon as the old monk spoke out, Yi Guozi held his tongue, but the glooming expression on his face clearly showed that he was still infuriated about the setback he suffered moments back. I pay my respects to the great master. Ling Huchong put his palms together and bowed. Young hero, please don't be over-courteous. How is your respectful master, Mr. Yue? Feng Sheng nodded and then spoke with a kind and pleasant countenance. At first, when Ling Huchong heard the group bearing down after him so menacingly, he was alarmed and on tenterhooks. After seeing monk Feng Sheng speaking and behaving with the demeanor of a sensible and accomplished monk, also knowing that monks of the Feng generation were the most senior ones in the Shaolin temple, as apprentice brothers of the temple abbot, great master Feng Zheng, he reckoned that monk Feng Sheng was not someone who persisted unreasonably like that Yi Guozi, and felt some relief at once. Thank you for asking, Great Master. Thank you for asking, Great Master. My master is well and sound, he answered respectfully. These four are all my nephew apprentices. This monk's Buddhist name is Jue Yue. This is nephew apprentice Huang Guobo. This is nephew apprentice Xin Guolang, and that's nephew apprentice Yi Guozi. I believe you have met Xin and Yu before, Fang Sheng introduced. Ah, yes, Ling Hucheng here shows his respect to four senior masters. I have severe wounds and cannot move about freely. If there's any lack of manners on my side, I beg for senior masters' pardon. Ling Hucheng cupped his hands. You have severe wounds? Yu Guozi let out a disgruntled snort. Do you really have severe wounds? Guozi, was it you who wounded him? Fang Sheng asked. It was just a misunderstanding. There's nothing to it. Senior Master Yu threw me to the ground with a brush of his sleeve and then hit me with a palm strike also. But don't worry, I can probably still hang on to my life for a short while. Great Master, you don't need to reproach Senior Master Yu, Ling Hucheng said. He intentionally mentioned about his severe wounds at the very beginning, and also blamed it all on Yu Guozi, thinking that Fang Sheng, the capable and senior monk, would certainly not allow those four nephew apprentices of his to make trouble for him again. Senior Master Xin saw everything with his own eyes on top of the 5 Tyrant Ridge, he continued. But since Great Master has come yourself, that's a great favor for a junior like me. I promise you that I'll never mention this incident in front of my master. You can rest assured, Great Master, that even though my wounds are incurable, this incident will not stir up any dispute between the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance and the Shaolin School. With these words, it sounded as though it was all Yi Guozi's fault that he had suffered severe and incurable injuries. That's total nonsense. You were severely injured all along. What have I gotten anything to do with it? Yi Guozi snarled. Well, Senior Master Yi, I don't think it's a good idea to mention that to anybody. If the story gets out, wouldn't that have stained the clean fame of the Shaolin School? Ling Hucheng let out a gentle sigh and then said quietly, Xin Guolang, Huang Guobo, and Jue Yue all nodded slightly, fully understanding that what Ling Hucheng had meant. The Fang generation monks of the Shaolin School had extreme seniority in the martial world. Although the Shaolin School is a separate school from the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance, when ranked by seniority, they would have equated to masters 1 generation above the headmasters of each of the 5 Mountains Sword Schools. Therefore, Xin Guolang and Yu Guozi's seniority would also be 1 generation above Ling Hucheng. When Yu Guozi had fought Ling Hucheng, one could have already called that a senior bullies a junior, not mentioning that the Shaolin School had 2 masters at the scene, and on top of that, Ling Hucheng had already been severely injured before the fight. The Shaolin School had very strict school rules. If Yu Guozi had really slain a junior from the Huashan School, the punishment could have been as severe as the capital punishment to pay with his life. At least he would have been stripped off all his kung fu skills and be expelled from the school. When Yu Guozi thought of the consequences, his face whitened from fear. Young hero, please come closer. Let me take a look at your wounds, Fang Sheng proposed. Done. Finally. This is actually a pretty long chapter, right? It's 750 at the moment. Did you guys like that chapter? Oh, I need to drink some water. Is it time for a song? Alright, I'll take suggestions on what karaoke song to sing. It was weird. So the granny is like is someone that everyone fears, right? All of these guys, like they're all like really good fighters, but then they fear this one, this granny, to the point where if anyone sees her, they'll gouge out their eyes. Oh, Turn Back Time? I like that song. I can do that. I don't know if I can do that with this voice right now. Turn Back Time is a good song. Players Gone Play, Destiny's Child. I don't know what that is, actually. Sorry. Maybe it is like an Oedipal thing, but what do you mean? Explain the Oedipal thing. Oh, did he gouge out his eyes? I don't know. I'm not that familiar with the edible. I keep saying edible with the Oedipal song, with the Oedipal story. All right, I'm gonna do Turn Back Time. Right, 1 second. Do I remember their lyrics? How does it go again? Oh my god. I only know the chorus, I think, but we'll see. Just searching for the karaoke version. What? Am I frozen? I hope not. Alright, let's find a good karaoke version.
This is not a wave. It's the chaos of creativity. Now, you can harness that chaos with AI and the computing power of Z. This is the next era of your creativity. Z by HP.
All right. Let's see if I remember this song. Give me time to reason. Give me time to think it through. Okay. Passing through the season where I cheated you. I will always have a cross to wear, but the bowl reminds me I was there. Oh shit. So give me strength to face this test of mine. I know the chorus. If only I could turn back time. If only I said what I still hide. If only I could turn back time, I would stay for the night, for the night. Let's see if we can do this. Claim your right to science. Claim your right to see the truth. Through my pangs of conscience, I will drill a hole in you. I seen it coming like a thief in the night. I seen it coming from the flash of your light. So give me strength to face this test of mine. If only I could turn back time. If only I said what I still hide. If only I could turn back time, I would stay for the night. Ah shit, I messed up. The boat reminds me I was there. The boat reminds me I was there. If only I could turn back time. If only I said what I still hide. If only I could turn back time, I would stay for the night. If only I could turn back time. If only I said what I still hide. If only I could turn back time, I would stay for the night. If only I... Wait. If only I could. If only I could turn back time, I would stay for the night. If only I... If only I could. If only I could turn back time, I would stay for the night. If only I... Yeah, oh god. You think you remember a song, but you only remember the chorus. You never heard the song? Yeah. You still haven't heard that song, because that was not the right way to sing it. Oh god. One of these days I have to clip out all these karaoke versions of myself singing and put it on into a single gigantic music video. Peak embarrassment for your entertainment. Thank you, you guys. All right, I think that's it, right? I only owe you one. One song? Okay. We're good now, right? We're good? All right. I will see you next week. I love you. Bye.